Assessment is really the heart of teaching and learning. It is really that point where the instructor shares with the student what is most valued. This is really what I care about you learning. And it's also where the student has an opportunity to get some feedback from the instructor about how to improve his or her performance. I mean, a big part of teaching is essentially sharing the wisdom from one generation to another, from one community to another. And, in sharing that wisdom, there's a sort of a trust, there's a bond there. And you're inviting someone into a new community. You're inviting the student into the community of educated people, whatever the field is. It could be English literature, it could be physics, it could be learning how to make an excellent weld, and it could be all kinds of fields. Everything that's taught, you're entering a community. And assessment is the heart of it. It's really where the student finds out, am I doing what the members of this community consider the most important part of the practice? And so in assessment done well, you're not just checking to see if someone has memorized a lot of things and if they can recall a lot of things like on command, like a sort of a chimp. You're actually checking to see if they can perform very complex things, if they have absorbed some of the values and the attitudes that are important to being a professional or a member of that community. And so assessment done well is when it is aligned with your most important learning goals. So if your most important learning goal is, have you memorized the terminology that's important in the field? Have you memorized a few computations? That's fine then to do a multiple choice item, a fill-in-the-blank item, perhaps a true and false item. Those are excellent for checking your recall. But if your learning outcome is something like, do you know how to look at a complex problem in the real world and apply an important principle, such as Ohm's law? You know when you need Ohm's law to solve a problem in the real world. That's a much more complex skill to measure. And so the assessment for that would not look like, what is Ohm's law? Or pick the following formula, A, B, C. Which one is Ohm's law? Because that's memorization. The ability to know when to use Ohm's law, you have to give someone an assessment that looks like something they'd see in the real world, when a real person in that community of practitioners would need to get Ohm's law off the shelf. So that's the challenge of designing assessment, and done well, it's a tremendously creative endeavor. And so it's also the final, if you do it well, you're behaving honorably. You're being consistent with that bond that is between teacher and student, where you're inviting that student into the community. That's why assessment is important.